But today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my projects, which is a bit left field for this audience, to be honest. I now realize standing here, but we'll give it a crack anyway. But I like this because I'm an engineer ultimately, and after spending too long doing like kind of, high-minded kind of intellectual things, bolting some solar panels onto roofs makes me feel very happy. And that's what this project involves. So the funders UK Innovate, which is unusual again for this room, I guess, and they're quite challenging in some respects because they want real change. They want things to happen as a result of this, not just some research papers. And so that's been interesting. And I'm working with a Kenyan company who make very cool solar equipment in Meru County in Kenya. So I've got a question for you. Why aren't all African hospitals using solar energy? It makes sense in Oxford. Like, it makes economic sense in Oxford. In Africa, it's a no-brainer. Why aren't they doing it? Cost, yeah. There's a lot of money on the table. Cost, is that back when it's still worthwhile? Maintenance definitely a consideration. We'll need to come back to it. Let's have a little look first. So everyone probably understands that Kenyan electricity grids are not the best. Most African grids are not the best, to be honest. When they go down and experience blackouts, you can get breakages in the cold chain, loss of vaccines, loss of expensive medications, surgeries are cancelled, services go down, people have to return home. It's an ongoing operational nightmare for places that have this regularly, and it affects, as I say, most countries in Africa, and Kenya isn't the worst of those, but still has significant issues with this. Added to which, the power is not even cheap. Power is quite expensive in many African countries, more than we might pay here, and so you're paying for quite poor provision in general. So again, looking quite like a big need for solar panels, which would provide much higher quality, consistent power, at least through the day. So here are some just outline costs I noted down very quickly last night, if I'm being honest. But yeah, the total cost of the solar installation we're doing at Meru Hospital is about £190,000. But the annual savings is about £60,000. It's about £5 a month. And so the payback period is about 3.2 years. It might be a bit less, depends on usage and the number of the types of services that are ongoing in the hospital. But yeah, that seems about right. The expected lifespan is 20 years. That's pessimistic. They might go 25, and over 20 years, that would be £1 million saved. That would pay for 13 medical officers, an extra 13 doctors working at the hospital for that entire period. So again, why aren't African hospitals using solar energy? So it's kind of CapEx, the capital expenditures. They don't have the money up front to buy it, to be able to buy into this solution. If that were the case here, there's banks, there's people that would offer financing. But the problem in this context is trust, and the lack of trust in African institutions to pay back funds over time, and distrust in general means that African organizations tend to pay much more for finance. They get much worse rates. I think they're 3 times worse, actually, is the figure that I've seen knocking around. So yeah, that really limits the ability of these hospitals to get into this space, even though on paper it's in the realm of no-brainer. So yeah, luckily, as I mentioned, the company that I'm working with in Kenya, really innovative, really amazing example of African innovation. And they have created this box they call CPesa, which creates a renewable energy certificate. So this is proof of having produced 1 megawatt hour of sustainable energy. And companies around the world are now buying these certificates to prove that they're supporting the production of green energy. And many big companies have commitments to purchase these RECs in different jurisdictions around the world. And So where some build their own panels and some just buy these RECs and they use that to green their supplies. In the world of AI, power consumption is really going up. So the big buyers of these include Microsoft and Google and so on. But Astonfield have created and patented a method for producing digital versions of these. So previously you needed like a middleman, like a KPMG to come in and prove that you were who you said you were, that the equipment was all set up properly, and to check all the logs and make sure that it was what you say it was. But now the box does it with a cool bit of crypto and some talking to Microsoft Cloud and validation through the inverter. And that means that they can just produce it automatically on site. This is cool because we can use it, I think, to help with this problem of trust. And yeah, this wasn't the idea at the beginning of this project, which is quite nice actually, that it came out through the research. But yeah, so in this instance, we would have a company that wants to buy these IRECs because they've made these commitments to greening their use of energy within their business. And you set the price at a level that means that it would cover the costs over the course of the project, cover the cost of the installation over the course of the project. And then you take that offer, which is from probably a blue chip company, a well-known brand, to a bank. And I've got both a buyer and a bank here, I should say, so this isn't total fantasy land. And ask them to support the installation. So you borrow the money upfront on the basis of this commitment to purchase the RECs in the future. You then install the solar, 1 megawatt hour of energy is produced, the cool new box, the CPesa box, digitally generates the certificate, and the IREC is then returned to the company and retired. And in this way, you have access to upfront finance through the bank, using the commitment to purchase these future certificates as collateral against that. That was probably quite confusing. If you followed it, I'm impressed. But the long and short of it is that we're getting on with it. So this is Meru Hospital, and we're 2 months ahead of schedule on this. Again, Astonfield, really very effective African partner that we're working with. And they've put a new roof on the hospital and solarized it with 228 kilowatts of solar panels. So saving them £5,000 a month, and hopefully we'll be able to generate the data through this to make a much broader case for solarization across Kenya, but then also across Africa. So I've got some cool potential side projects around mapping all of the roofs of all of the hospitals in Africa to see what the potential energy is, and then do the maths on how much money that would cost and see if we can get some partners involved at scale to finance that.